Welcome back to Bible Quizzes. We got another round for you guys. 35 questions on the scriptures. Let's get started. Question 1. What was the name of the island where Paul was shipwrecked on? Cyprus, Malta, or Sella? The answer is Malta. Acts 28:1. Once we were safely ashore, we learned that the island was called Malta. Question 2. Who among the following worked as a tax collector before becoming one of Jesus' disciples? Matthew, James, or John? Matthew 10:3. Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus. Question 3. How long did Jesus fast? 30 days and 40 nights, 40 days and 40 nights, or 40 days and 41 nights? "40 days and 40 nights, Matthew 4:1-2. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. Question 4. Which prophet turned his rod into a bronze snake? Ezekiel, Isaiah, or Moses? Moses. Numbers 21:9. So Moses made a bronze snake and put it up on a pole. Then, when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake, they lived. Question 5. In the 10 plagues of Egypt, what plague came first? Plague of frogs, water turned to blood, or plague of livestock? Water turned to blood. Exodus 7:20. Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded. He raised his staff in the presence of Pharaoh and his officials and struck the water of the Nile, and all the water was changed into blood. Question 6. Jesus grew up in what town? Nazareth, Jericho, or Damascus? Nazareth. Luke 4:16. He went to Nazareth where he had been brought up, and on the Sabbath day he went into the synagogue, as was his custom. He stood up to read. Question 7. What did Joseph do for a living? Farming, fishing, or carpentry? The answer is carpentry. Matthew 13:55. Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother's name Mary, and aren't his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Question 8. There are blank Gospels in the New Testament. 5, 6, or 4? The answer is 4. The 4 Gospels in the New Testament are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Question 9. Who was the second oldest man in the Bible? Methuselah, Jared, or Noah? The answer is Jared. Genesis 5:20. Altogether, Jared lived a total of 962 years and then he died. Question 10. How many commandments were given to Moses? 11, 10, or 9? The answer is 10. Deuteronomy 4:13. He declared to you his covenant, the 10 commandments, which he commanded you to follow, and then wrote them on 2 stone tablets. Question 11. Who tried to have Jesus killed as soon as he was born? Herod, Pontius Pilate, or Judas? The answer is Herod. Matthew 2:13. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. Question 12. According to the scriptures, what is the duty of mankind? Love your neighbor as yourself, fear God and keep his commandments, or be fruitful and multiply? Fear God and keep his commandments. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. Question 13. Samson struck down blank Philistines with a donkey's jawbone. 1,000, 10,000, or 100? "1,000. Judges 15:15. Finding a fresh jawbone of a donkey, he grabbed it and struck down 1,000 men. Question 14. What is the name of Moses' sister? Rebecca, Esther, or Miriam? Miriam. Numbers 26:59. The name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, a descendant of Levi who was born to the Levites in Egypt. To Amram she bore Aaron, Moses, and their sister Miriam. Question 15. Fill in the missing word. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is blank. Hope, love, or faith? Love. Corinthians 13:13. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. Question 16. What's the name of Adam and Eve's third son? Jacob, Seth, or Caleb? The answer is Seth. Genesis 4:25. Adam made love to his wife again, and she gave birth to a son and named him Seth, saying, God has granted me another child in place of Abel since Cain killed him. Question 17. Which apostle wrote Galatians? Paul, Bartholomew, or Peter? Paul. Galatians 1:1-2. Paul, an apostle, sent not from men nor by a man, but by Jesus Christ and God the Father, who raised him from the dead, and all the brothers and sisters with me, to the churches in Galatia. Question 18. Where did Jacob ask to be buried? Ur, Canaan, or Galilee? Canaan. Genesis 49:30. The cave in the field of Machpelah, near Mamre in Canaan, which Abraham bought along with the field as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite. Question 19. What is the name of the garden where Jesus went to pray? Gethsemane, Golgotha, or Eden? Gethsemane. Matthew 26:36. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, Sit here while I go over there and pray. Question 20. Which of the following is a fruit of the Spirit? Gold, peace, or idolatry? Peace. Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Question 21. How much was Judas paid in exchange for turning over Jesus? 30 pieces of silver, 40 pieces of silver, or 30 pieces of gold? $30 pieces of silver. Matthew 26:15, and asked, What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you? So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver. 22. Pontius Pilate washed his blank to free himself from the responsibility of Jesus' death. Face, feet, or hands? Hands. signs. Matthew 27:24. When Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but that instead an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands in front of the crowd. I am innocent of this man's blood, he said. It is your responsibility. Question 23. What is the shortest verse in the Bible? Matthew 28:6, John 11:35, or Acts 5:29? John 11:35. Jesus wept. Question 24. How many people were on Noah's Ark? 8, 6, or 7? Genesis 8:11. On that very day Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. Question 25. What did David use to defeat Goliath? A sword, a bow and arrow, or a sling and a stone? A sling and a stone. 1 Samuel 17:50. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. Question 26. What's the name of the river where Jesus was baptized? Tigris, Jordan, or Euphrates? Jordan. Matthew 3:13. Then Jesus came from Galilee to the Jordan to be baptized by John. Question 27. Who was ordered to carry Jesus' cross? Simon, John, or Mark? Simon. Mark 15:21. A certain man from Cyrene, Simon, the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way in front of the country, and they forced him to carry the cross. Question 28. How many times did Peter deny Jesus? 2, 3, or 4? The answer is 3. Matthew 26:75. Then Peter remembered the word Jesus had spoken. Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly. Question 29. How did Judas reveal Jesus' identity? By shaking his hand, by kissing him, or by bowing to him? By kissing him. Mark 14:44-45. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard. Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, Rabbi, and kissed him. Question 30. Fill in the missing word. How much better to get blank than gold, to get insight rather than silver? Wisdom, strength, or hope? The answer is wisdom. Proverbs 16:16. How much better to get wisdom than gold, to get insight rather than silver? Question 31. What did the Israelites worship when Moses left them to talk to God on Mount Sinai? A golden lamb, a golden dove, or a golden calf? A golden calf. Exodus 32:8. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them and have made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it and have said, These are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. Question 32. Jesus' family went to Jerusalem every year for what festival? Feast of the Harvest, Feast of Tabernacles, or Festival of the Passover? Festival of the Passover. Luke 2:41. Every year Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. Question 33. Fill in the missing word. I am the vine, you are the blank. Branches, fruits, or roots? Branches. John 15:5. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Question 34. God revealed himself to Moses in the wilderness through what? A burning bush, a white dove, or a gentle lamb? A burning bush. Exodus 3:2. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. Question 35. What is the eighth commandment? You shall not murder, you shall not steal, or you shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. Exodus 20:15. You shall not steal. Question 36. Which angel interprets Daniel's visions? Gabriel, Michael, or Raphael? Gabriel. Daniel 8:16. And I heard a man's voice from the Ulai calling, Gabriel, I tell this man the meaning of the vision. Question 37. Why did Jesus spit on the blind man's eyes? To bless him, to cure his blindness, or to make him happy? To cure his blindness. Mark 8:23. He took the blind man by the hand and led him outside the village. When he had spit on the man's eyes and put his hands on him, Jesus asked, Do you see anything? Question 38. At the Last Supper, Jesus washed his disciples what? Hair, hands, or feet? Feet. John 13:5. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. Question 39. Who was Joseph's Egyptian master? Ham, Mizraim, or Potiphar? Potiphar. Genesis 39:1. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. Question 40. How many bread and fish did Jesus use to feed more than 5,000 people? 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, 2 loaves and 5 fish, or 5 loaves and 5 fish? 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Matthew 14:19. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven. He gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. Alright, that's all the questions we have for today, so make sure you post your score in the comments down below and share this video with your friends and family so you can compare your score against theirs. And we'll see you in the next one.